Shalom, Yasha Allah. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Chachudash. Double honors to the beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to all you hopeful elect Akim out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Amar from the GMS Boise, Idaho camp, and I'm doing this lesson, based off of a picture and a little bit of an article that I saw online, about a women of our tribe. Specifically, I would have to guess Judah. And the viral picture is this. I'm gonna show it, Salakia. But this is the subject matter of the lesson. This is a 23-year-old black woman who made it clear she preferred white men over black men, was stabbed to death by her boyfriend a month after filing a restraining order. He then went head on onto a car and set himself on fire. I'm sure the fire, started for the accident, but this is a couple of her tweets or posts. She said, "We hate niggas over here. Send a white boy my way. I bet." And this is sadly the mentality of a lot of our women of the tribes. They see so-called white man winning right now, and they would rather choose to not suffer because a woman's natural, how do you say, a woman naturally is going to gravitate to those who have power. She always wants to be in comfort. She never wants to be put in extremes, whether it be too hot or too cold. She wants to live the best life that she can. What do they always say? Go live your best life. All right, well, careful what you ask for. So, there's so many scriptures that come to mind, but the point being is that when you go out trusting your enemy and choosing the enemy rather to suffer with your people, this is exactly what happens. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and start it in order, from the scriptures that, talk about this subject, man. And point blank period, we do not need the Israelite woman to bring back the Israelite nation. The nation comes through the seed and the loins of the man, pursuant to Numbers 1 and 18. That is what defines your pedigree, what tribe you are. There's no such thing as a half-breed. There's no such thing as your mother's another nation, let's say any other nation, but your father's a Jake. You're not two people in one. You are what your father is. But are women being deceived with Esau's money, social status? He got an inheritance. He's a piece of shit, but he got a fat ass inheritance from his parents, grandparents, or whatever. So he's getting money, man. But this is 1 Timothy 2 and 14. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. And we understand that even the serpent to this day is a relationship that our women are constantly, the 2/3. Let me say this, the 2/3 women of our nation, because there is righteous women. There is women that are going to be saved and destined to be saved and saved for the men of Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, for the point of the kingdom of heaven and prophecy to be established, by our seed being as the sand of the sea and the stars of heaven. So the point being, again, 1 Timothy 2 and 14, and Adam was not deceived, because a man can stand on his own. That's why a man has testosterone. He's not influenced as easily by other outside influences as, a woman is, that's weak and feeble, that's not going to put up a fight. That's not her nature. She's going to always take the easier route. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman, again, the woman being deceived was in transgression. And in this case specifically, which is just a microcosm of what's the whole problem of the world of Israel, according to, the type of preferences that our women like, man. I can't even tell you how many tribes from Judah, Issachar, that I went to high school with that were women, and they all married white boys, man. And count if you, my sister married a white boy, man, and guess what? She had a seed with him. She bare that man's children, and guess what? 2 years after the marriage, my sister couldn't stop being a demon. His ass took off to fucking New York and left her with the kid, you know, my nephew. So, hey man, it's just time and time again that you've seen these things firsthand. I know a lot of brothers in their family where they got a cousin, a distant cousin. They got a girl cousin. She probably chose a white boy, man. Point blank, period. I know a couple of my cousins that, really liked white boys in the sense of as a boyfriend or someone to settle down with, man. And that's why in the ancient time, the father would choose who his daughter was married off to. There's a scripture that says when a man when marries off his daughter, he's completed a weighty matter. Because daughters are very precious because you can give them to a righteous man, especially if you keep your daughter in. She's not out there hot in her panties, sneaking out her window for Pookie and Ray Ray and all his friends to hit, man. A man that's not a prize woman. A woman that is brought up correctly, told by her father that she ultimately is always gonna serve and depend on a man, whether she's in her father's household to when she leaves her father's household to her husband's household and takes on his name, etc., by being transferred ownership, because women are property. Point blank, period. A woman is not independent. A woman belongs to her husband. And this society has fucked up our women's mind to think that they can do better with a heathen nation, man. And that is the curses, man. It says your wife will be a harlot in the streets, etc., man. And there's just a lot of subject matter that you can take from this situation that the scriptures, if would have told you what was going to happen and you would have had warning, So I'm going to actually go to one other scripture that I have in mind. I'm going to get to this later. This is Job 39 and 17. This is Job 39 and 17. Because the Most High hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. Again, it is a woman's job to follow. It is a man's job to lead. And a woman needs a man of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And when you don't choose a man of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you choose these worldly Pookie, Ray Ray, or fucking Chris Tucker. Not Chris Tucker, but Chris, what's a white boy name? I don't know. A white boy. Edomite, man. Because they're not white, they're red. When you choose an Edomite, that's the type of opposites that you're going to get. You're going to get unalived, you're going to get abused, you're going to get all the weirdo shit. He ain't going to shower, he ain't going to scrub his ass right. I'm just speaking, just knowing how Edomites are, man. I can't imagine, other than money, there's any other reason that's a Jake woman would prefer an Edomite, because they're not stronger than us. They're not as handsome. They ain't got no tan. They ain't got no flavor. They ain't got no masculinity. They fucking soy boy, low testosterone, man. But that's how you know that it's the curses, because nobody in their right mind would choose any other people except their nation. Like the book of Tobit, goes into when Tobit was, counseling his son on the type of woman to choose. He said, chiefly take a woman of thy own tribe. I'm going to get that scripture, Salakia. Just give me a couple seconds, Yashar Allah, to get this. I have my sword right here, and I have it marked. Salakia. And once I get it in my sword, I'm going to pull it up on the screen, because I was just there not too long ago. But you always want to choose your own people first, which only makes sense, man, because think about this. You see lions with a lioness. You see a here it is. Yeah. You see a lion with a lioness. You see every animal with its own kind. And this applies to women, because again, the man carries the seed of the nation. So like the elders and apostles always say, we don't need you Israelite women to bring back the Israelite nation. Stop putting yourself on a pedestal thinking that you make the fucking decisions around here, because you don't. So this